Hey guys, Chris from Hockey Tutorial here, and today is a great day. Today I've got the FT1s versus the brand new FT2 skates from CCM. With this video, we're going to be looking at the bottom of the skates all the way up to the top and also inside, showing you exactly what has been changed or modified or updated to let you know exactly how the FT2s compare to the previous generation FT1s. I can start off by saying that although these two skates look very similar because they're from the same family, which is the JetSpeed family, they have essentially created a completely new skate. And I can't wait to share with you what's changed. Let's get to it. Now starting off at the base of both of these skates and then working our way upwards. When we look at the original FT1s, this featured the Hyperglide runner, and as we move up into the holder, it was the SB 4.0 Plus holder. Now straight away when we look at the FT2s, I love the fact that the second we're looking at the skate from the base up, it's completely new features, new technology. These blades over here are the XS1 black blades. Aside from being black and featuring that coating that helps to maintain edge life, fight rust and corrosion much better than the predecessor, which was the Hyperglide, it also sits 2mm higher. Now where this benefits us is on the ice. When you're in your turns, when you're striding, this is generally going to improve your maneuverability on the ice, allowing you to corner much tighter than the previous blade. 2mm doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're battling for the puck and you need to make a quick move, a tight turn, having that extra 2mm on the blade is going to make a big difference in those tight turns, especially stopping you from bottoming out. As we move up into the holder, again, we're seeing something completely brand new when we compare it to the previous skates over here. This is CCM's XS holder, which features this dial system over here that allows you to switch out the steel with absolutely no tools. This is a massive deal because it means if you lose an edge or break a steel, instead of having to have tools, both of these bolts removed and then reattached after you attach a new blade, which takes a very long time, you're now able to just switch out the steel without any tools very quickly within a matter of seconds. So especially for the pros or players that like to have spare or backup blades or runners, this is a massive advancement and I'm very excited that CCM have introduced this. Now regarding the height and pitch of this new XS holder, it's exactly the same as what we saw on the SB 4.0. So there's no changes in terms of the way that the holder will feel while you're skating around, while you're striding. That's all the same. It just features this new system that allows you to switch out your steel in a matter of seconds, which is an awesome perk. The way that CCM's new holder works is that it's a mechanism that locks the blade inside the holder with a screw. This is much more secure than using a trigger which features a spring which can actually release the blade, or over time you can notice the blade becoming much looser. So with these new holders, you're not going to get any popping out of the blade or any clicking that I've sometimes experienced in other manufacturers' blades when the holder and the blade start to loosen over time. This is a much more secure option than what we've seen from other manufacturers. And the way this benefits us on the ice is the tighter connection between the blade and the holder, the better the energy transfer. And of course, the less risk there is of that blade popping out while you're on the ice or taking shots to the side of the skate. From there, as we move up into the boots of both of these skates, with the original FT1 skates, this featured CCM's light frame technology. In terms of the JetSpeed range of skates, this was the first time that we saw a one-piece boot frame, which had numerous benefits. The idea behind the one-piece boot frame was to eliminate what CCM refers to as non-performance components, which is anything that's attached to the skate that doesn't actually benefit the performance of the skate. That's what we saw in these skates over here. And as we move over onto the FT2, we again see refinements of this process. This features CCM's Light Frame 360 Evo. The Evo stands for evolution, as this is the next iteration of the JetSpeed skate. Aside from CCM now being able to print 360 degrees around the entire body of the boot, if you look at the FT1s, the base of the skate was actually black where the outsole would normally be, but with the FT2s, they're able to print around the entire circumference of the skate, which is phenomenal. Aside from this, the stiffness in the FT2 is exactly the same as what we saw in the FT1, but the body of the FT2 will last much longer and break down far less than what we saw in the previous model. So the FT2 features reinforced resistance and durability versus the original FT1s. So what you can expect is just better wear and tear and better life length of these skates while you're using them. From there, we'll move up into the necks of both of these skates. Now, the FT1s, the original FT1s over here, featured the comfort pad, which was that soft cushioning around the neck of the skate to alleviate any pain or pressure that you experienced while you were skating. Now, although there was nothing wrong with this, what they've done in the FT2s, again, is completely different. The FT1's comfort pads were essentially 4 different pieces of material stitched together to create that section of the skate. When we move over onto the FT2s, CCM have trimmed this down to just one injected piece. So this comes back to what we said about the one-piece boot frames. CCM trying to create a skate that is incredibly lean and only has performance components on it. In other words, everything featured on the skate is as light and as lean as it possibly can to aid you on the ice in your performance. And that's exactly what we see with the new comfort pad that they've created. Aside from it being one piece, which means it's going to last longer, there's fewer pieces to break down, and it being much larger, so it's going to be much more comfortable. It's generally a better construction, and it's going to help us perform a little bit more comfortably on the ice while we're skating around, which is always a bonus. Now from there, taking a look at the tongues of both of these skates over here. When we look at the FT1's tongue over here, you'll notice that when you compare it to the FT2's, it's not straight along here. What CCM have done is that they've created an asymmetrical design with the new tongue on the FT2's. Aside from this falling on our foot much better because it's essentially in the same shape as our foot, it's going to wrap around the foot much better, which will enhance your forward flexion inside this skate. Aside from this providing better comfort inside the skates, the new design will also prevent the tongues from slipping down the side, which is something I think we've experienced in pretty much any skate that doesn't feature an asymmetrical tongue, so that's another big bonus. Regarding the lace bite in both of these tongues, it's essentially the same thing, both featuring that Tritech molded lace bite protection. Next up is going to be the liners of both of these skates over here. When we look at the FT1, this featured CCM's Total Dry Pro liner inside these skates. They featured a couple of abrasion pads and good moisture wicking inside this boot. But when we move over onto the FT2, this is CCM's Total Dry Pro Plus liner. The plus in the name is to signify some of the changes that they've made inside, which includes much more abrasion pads around the eyelet level of the skates to enhance the general durability of these skates. So in terms of how long the liners will last when you compare it to the FT1s, the liners inside the FT2s are going to last much longer because of those additional abrasion pads that have been added to the inside of these skates. You can still expect these liners to have great moisture wicking like we saw in the FT1s, but those abrasion pads inside there are really going to help increase the life length of the liners inside these boots by targeting those high wear areas inside the skate. So expect these to last much longer than what you saw previously with the FT1. Now regarding the fit inside these skates, the JetSpeed range has been considered CCM's tapered fit, but what they have done with the new FT2 skates is very, and I mean very, very slightly widened the area around the heel. But this isn't a significant change. It's not something that's going to alter the fit profile of the skates. It's still tailored toward a tapered fit, but it has just been very, very slightly widened. So aside from there being a very clear cosmetical difference between both of these insoles, over here with the FT1 standard insole, it's literally just a foam insole. There's nothing wrong with this, but it doesn't have any unique features, just very, very standard and something that we've seen in skates a lot. And when we move over onto the insole that's featured inside the FT2s, this is the OrthoMove insole. Now what this has is a stiffened back that's referred to as power grid technology. The idea behind this is by creating this stiff, rigid base around the heel section of the foot coming forward into the midsection, is that this enhances the energy transfer that you get inside the skates because it's stiffer and that energy is allowed to be transferred through the skate, the inside of the skate and onto the blade much more effectively. It also features these inserts over here, which are arch inserts. The idea behind this is that you can remove one of these if you have a very flat arch. You can then also insert one of these inserts if you have a mid arch and a much higher one if you have a high arch. So the idea is to make sure that regardless of what type of arch type you have, you're accommodated in these skates. As always, thank you very much for watching this video all the way until the end. There is another video coming on the FT2s versus the FT490s, which is the model of skate just below them. I wanted to create a video on this because of how much CCM have stepped their game up when you look at the model of skate just below the top end. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I will link it down below and also somewhere along the top of the screen. But a big thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you've got any questions about either of these skates, leave it down below in the comment section. Let me know which ones you're going to be picking up, if it's going to be the FT2s or the FT1s. Aside from that, all of the links that you need to buy these skates, North America or Europe, are going to be down below in the video description. Big thank you to CCM for making this video possible, and I will catch you in the next one. But before we go, please thumbs up the video, consider subscribing so you can stay up to date, turn the bell notification on so you know when I post new videos. Check out the social pages, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you and take care.